What would you say if a cop leaned into your window and told you, "You're making this worse right now"? If you start explaining, apologizing, or arguing, you can hand them the words they need to hold you longer, search deeper, and build a case. But if you say one calm sentence and then stop talking, you protect yourself in a way most drivers never do. Before I reveal the exact words, hit subscribe right now so you can find this video again when you need it during a real traffic stop. And tap like because your future self will not remember this under stress. You need to know what's coming before your heart starts pounding and your hands start shaking. In this video, you're going to learn the one sentence that shuts down the pressure game, the question that tells you if the stop is actually over, the line that blocks fake consent searches, and the mistake that turns a warning into handcuffs. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and you see the same pattern again and again. A driver talks too much, a cop stays calm, then the driver talks themselves straight into a bad night. Let me show you exactly how to stop that from happening to you. You do not need to be rude. You do not need to know big legal words. You just need the right line, the right timing, and the self-control to stop filling silence with panic. The danger for you starts the second you try to clear things up. That feels smart. It feels human. But it usually helps the officer, not you. When a cop says, "You're making this worse," they want your mouth open. They want you talking. They want you to explain where you came from, where you're going, why you look nervous, why your friend has a record, why your car smells weird, why there's cash in the console, why you paused before answering. Here's the reality. Your extra words are often the raw material for more questions, more delay, and more suspicion. Most people have no idea that talking calmly can still hurt them badly. You think you sound innocent. They hear possible cause. That is why your job is not to win the conversation. Your job is to survive the stop without volunteering evidence. Your first move is simple. You invoke your silence out loud, not in your head, not by staring forward, not by shrugging. You say it clearly so there is no confusion later. Here's exactly what you say. "Officer, I'm invoking my right to remain silent." Word for word. Memorize that line. If the stop is still happening, you can still hand over your license, registration, and insurance. You can still follow lawful orders, but you stop answering the fishing questions. This matters because silence by itself is not always enough. Courts have said if you want that protection, you need to clearly say you are using it. That is why the exact words matter. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court because it is short, clean, and hard to twist. You're not being disrespectful. You are not resisting. You are not confessing. You are drawing a bright line. Bad way. Most drivers say, "I'm not doing anything wrong, I swear. I was just coming from my cousin's house and that bag isn't mine." Then the officer hears 5 new things to dig into. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Officer, I am invoking my right to remain silent." Then the officer loses the free interview you were about to give away. This is 100% legal. You're not required to help build a case against yourself. That does not mean you can refuse to identify yourself when the law requires it during a stop. It means you do not answer extra questions about drugs, guns, cash, travel plans, passengers, or where that smell came from. You can be polite and still be protected. Now you might be thinking, what if the officer gets annoyed? That is exactly why this line works. It gives you a calm script when your brain wants to ramble. It keeps you from saying the dumb sentence almost everyone says under pressure. You can search, "I've got nothing to hide." Or this one, "I only had one drink." Or this one, "That's not even mine." Those lines destroy cases for the wrong person and help cases against the right person. You do not know what facts matter yet, so you do not talk. Here's the reality. The officer may still keep asking questions. That does not mean your line failed. It means they are testing whether you really mean it. You do not need a speech. You do not need to debate rights on the roadside. You just repeat the line once if needed. "Officer, I am invoking my right to remain silent." Then you stop. That is the move. Calm voice, still hands, no extra words. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings that reward clear, direct invocation over nervous half silence. If this is already changing how you'd handle a stop, tell me in the comments right now. Have you ever been pressured to just explain yourself during a traffic stop? Your second move is the status question. This is how you find out if the stop is still happening. Or if the officer is trying to keep you there for a bonus round. You look at the officer and say this, "Am I being detained or am I free to leave?" Those exact words. Keep your tone flat, not sarcastic, not angry, just clear. Let me show you exactly why this question matters. A normal traffic stop has a mission. The officer checks your license, registration, insurance, maybe writes a ticket or warning, and handles safety stuff tied to the stop. That part is the mission. But once that job is done, some officers keep chatting. Because they hope you will stay, keep talking, and consent to things you never had to do. They may ask where you're headed. They may ask about drugs. They may ask if you mind if they take a quick look. If you do not ask your status, you may not realize the stop has shifted from a ticket stop into a fishing trip. Bad way. Most drivers say, "Why are you asking me all this? I didn't do anything." Then the officer hears attitude, keeps control, and the stop drags on. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Am I being detained or am I free to leave?" Then the officer has to either keep the detention lawful or let the encounter end. Watch what happens when you ask it the right way. If the officer says you're free to leave, you leave. You do not stay to be nice. You do not stay because the officer sounds friendly. You leave. If the officer says you are being detained, that tells you the stop is still active and you keep your silence in place. Either answer helps you. You now know where you stand. There is strong legal backup for this idea. Courts often look at one basic question. Would a normal person feel free to end the encounter and go? That idea shows up in cases like Mendenhall and Bostic. And another case, Ohio versus Robinette, matters for you too. It basically means police do not always have to tell you the stop is over before asking for more. So you ask. You do not wait for a magic phrase from them. This is also why timing matters. Do not ask the status question in the first 2 seconds after you get pulled over. If the officer has not even checked your documents yet, you already know you're being detained. Use it when the mission looks done. Ticket handed back. Warning printed. Documents returned. The officer is now lingering. That is your moment. Watch what happens when you stop guessing and start asking. Your stress drops because you are no longer trapped in confusion. You are making the officer define the moment. That protects you later too. If the stop was extended for no valid reason, that can matter in court. Former police officers have confirmed this works because it changes the tone. You are no longer volunteering for the extra interview. You are making them choose. Your third move is the search line. This is the one that saves people from giving away their best protection. Here's exactly what you say. "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." Say it clearly. Say it once. If they ask again, repeat it. Then stop talking. Here's the trick they don't want you knowing. Your refusal still matters even if they search anyway. A lot of drivers think my words do not matter. Wrong. Your words matter because they show you never gave permission. That can matter later when a judge looks at the search. Bad way. Most drivers say, "Sure, go ahead. I've got nothing to hide." Then the officer gets your permission and you just erased a huge argument you could have used later. Good way. Smart drivers say, "Officer, I do not consent to any searches." Then the officer has to stand on actual legal grounds, not your nervous yes. That line is powerful because consent is one of the easiest roads into your car. Officers ask for it because people give it away every day. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection during a roadside search request. If you say yes, you cannot rewind it later just because you felt scared. If you say no, you preserve the issue. Now be smart here. Refusing consent does not mean you physically block anything. You do not slap hands away. You do not grab your door. You do not argue on the shoulder. You state your refusal and stay still. If they order you out, you get out. If they search anyway, you let your lawyer fight that later. Your job is not to win a wrestling match with a badge. Your job is to avoid adding resisting charges. In Knowles v. Iowa, the Supreme Court said, getting a traffic ticket does not automatically let police search your car. That matters for you because a basic stop is not a free pass to tear through your stuff. And if the stop gets stretched out, that can run into Rodriguez v. United States regarding unrelated investigation. This line also protects you from your own mouth. When you are nervous, you want to seem helpful. You think no makes you look guilty. It does not. Saying no to a search is normal, smart, and lawful. It means you understand the difference between being polite and giving away rights. That difference is huge. 90% of drivers do not know what comes next. If you're still here, you're serious about protecting yourself. Show me by hitting that like button because the next move is what you say when they try the guilt trick. Now let's deal with the exact pressure line from the title. The officer says, "You're making this worse." That sentence is designed to make you panic and fix the officer's mood with more words. Do not fall for it. Listen closely because this is critical. Your answer is not a defense speech. Your answer is a boundary. You look at the officer and say this: "I understand, officer. I am invoking my right to remain silent. And I will not answer questions without a lawyer." That is your shield. Then you stop talking. This works because the officer is trying to change your emotional state. They want fear and guilt. They want you thinking silence equals trouble. It does not. Silence, clearly invoked, is protection. Bad way. Most drivers say, "I'm not making anything worse, man. You're twisting this. I was only there for a second." Good way. Smart drivers say, "I understand, officer. I am invoking my right to remain silent, and I will not answer questions without a lawyer." Notice what makes this line strong. You do not insult the officer. You do not debate. You do not leave room for maybe. Burghoos v. Tompkins and Salinas v. Texas show if you want silence, you must say it clearly. Just sitting there is not enough. Rodriguez v. United States means police cannot keep you longer than needed just to hunt for crimes without reason. Knowles v. Iowa matters because a ticket is not a free search coupon. Your lines force them to rely on real legal grounds. Picture your next stop. Hands visible, window cracked. The officer says you rolled through a stop sign. Then the questions start. Where are you coming from? Why are you so nervous? Mind if I take a look? In the wrong version, you over-explain and agree to the search. In the right version, you give the officer almost nothing. Next video, I'm revealing what to say when cops claim they smell weed. Subscribe right now. First say, Officer, I'm invoking my right to remain silent. Second, ask, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Third, say, Officer, I do not consent to any searches. Fourth, if they try pressure, ask for a lawyer and stop talking. You do not need to be loud. You need to be clear. Smash like and drop a comment. Stay safe out there.